Welcome back to the DreamHack PUBG Showdown. Now, during that break, rather than nipping to the loo, I decided to nip out into the audience and grab myself a Texan gentleman. Everyone, welcome Mr. Porosaurus.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. You're just living down the road, aren't you, in Texas?
Yeah, just right down the street, like 3 hours away. It's fine.
What?
Dallas. Yeah.
Three hours?
Yeah.
In the same state. Yeah.
This
My
is
heart
Texas.
is broken. This is just not going to work out.
Have you not heard the whole everything is bigger? That's actually true.
Everything's bigger in Texas. Okay, I can make long distance work.
Okay.
Now, Porosaurus, you are a community caster from NA.
Yes,
Talk to me about the scene out here.
I mean, obviously, we're still, getting better, trying to catch up to where EU is. And I think, honestly, I think it goes back and forth a lot between EU and NA. And I think we're seeing it now a little bit more. Obviously, you look at the scoreboard, you can see that EU's winning games.
Yeah, 6 chicken dinners to 3. So when you're saying back and forth, we're not really seeing that here now, are we, Porosaurus?
Whatever. I gotta take it from Martin all the time.
You gotta give it to him. He started saying, "Oh, we're catching up." So
yeah,
obviously it's a statement to we're getting better, and I think so too. I think the development of the scene, especially the NA scene, is getting a lot better. Just from 3 months ago, it's a much slower play. They approach the circles a lot slower, and I think they learned a lot. So when we're doing some of the North American stuff, I think that they're actually catching up and they're doing a lot of better adapting and coming a lot earlier to the circles when they need to and doing a lot more aggressive plays compared to just 1, 2, 3 months ago. So I gotta give it to the North American guys.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look back even just for the past couple of months, right, the way the EU meta has kind of been going is that everybody hard crashes towards the center. And it was really kind of one of the things I was interested in looking at coming into this tournament now that we have 5 EU teams and then a whole bunch of North American teams, how that was going to work. If you're going to all crash to the center and then be surrounded on all sides by North American teams. And obviously, I think today, especially, we've seen EU teams kind of change that style.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons why European teams, at least when it comes to LANs, have kind of performed a lot better, is that they have that ability to adjust on the fly.
Well, let's see the standings so we can just see how your NA teams are doing in the rankings. Of course, FaZe Clan, 2 chicken dinners, comfortably at the top now, but closely followed by your NA boys, Optic Gaming.
There you go.
But I mean, look at the scoreboard. 8th place, Team Kingwin with a chicken dinner, and that stands to the point that just winning isn't enough to win the whole thing. This game is about consistency. The kings of consistency, IW Optic Gaming.
Yeah.
North American organization, came through the BYOC, grind, 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 and still 2nd place because they may not win the chicken, but they're taking home the points for 2nd or 3rd place every single time, and they're getting the frags. I think that's North America for me. The idea of these guys get consistency, they get the need for controlled fights. I think they do well on maps like Miramar a lot of time because they sort of work well on these foot-based fights, and that's where I think Optic and Envious, for instance, are excelling here today.
Yeah, I think so as well. Optic is also, I mean, Optic belongs up there. They're one of the best North American teams, especially in LAN. We've seen them perform so well in LAN. And even with the recent change here with Valiant coming into the roster, I think they're just doing real. What I'd like to see from them to put them in the top 1 position is a bit more of the kind of aggressive playstyle where they need to be, because they can do that. I know they can easily take FaZe in a 4 vs 2 or 4 vs 3. We didn't see that yesterday. We saw that 4 vs 2, if they were aggressive there, they would have taken it. You even heard from Exedi. He said, we were lost that. I played like we lost it.
I think what we see from Optic generally is Valiant's call style, and you might be able to speak to this, is he plays for placement first and then kills second, right? So in that push, there was a point where they, in the first game, they could have pushed FaZe, eliminated them as a threat, but there were 7 teams remaining. You could almost feel Valiant saying, no, we're not gonna do that till there's 5. We wanna make sure we're in that top 5 position. That said, we're past those games. Now it's time to secure 1st place, tell the team, let's open it up. It doesn't matter if there's 10 teams left. If it's a better spot, take the fight.
Well, and if you want to put them in a position where they have to start fragging out and killing people, I mean, Bahawaka, Hypoc, I mean, these are guys that we've known for since back to the beginning of the scene. These are guys that can land these shots.
I just want to give a shout out to the votes. You can now cast your vote in Twitch chat. Let us know who you think is going to take that chicken dinner from round number 9.
I mean, we'll see where the votes go, but like we said, we've just been talking about Optic. We heard people chanting for Optic last night here in the stadium or in the building, so that was there. You can hear them yelling right now. So it's exciting. They're like the hometown team, and they're doing so well is really, really cool.
Well, a team that is definitely not from here is Team Secret. Known probably for their face man, I guess you could call him. I don't know if face man is a position in PUBG, but let's make it one. Let's meet Team Secret.
I'm Fint. I am player and captain for Team Secret. My role on the team is entry fragger, and also I'm co-in-game leader.
We qualify for DreamHack Austin by playing on the South American qualifiers. Team Secret's biggest strength, I feel that it's playing together, mostly staying as in a pack, trusting each other and knowing where we are in a position.
My favorite weapon is any SMG. I prefer close combat, long range. It's more fun, more like action-based.
I think I'm gonna be the top fragger of the tournament. I hope so. I'm trying to be, so I hope so.
Team Secret, we like to play both aggressively while defending.
Team Secret is ready. Are you ready?
Yeah, I think I'm ready, Team Secret. I'm picking up some dance moves from Papaya. I'm going to be breaking things down on the dance floor with them at the after party later. Ooh. I'm going for it. You're missing my moves though right now. Just imagine I'm on the floor, I'm twisting round, I'm breaking, I'm breaking Porosaurus. Oh my God, Porosaurus, I'm in the air. Oh, hello, Texan. Team Secret though, we saw them getting a bit more aggressive than we expected yesterday, taking out Team Vitality. Well, Optic just crawled off, Hetero crawled off. What can we expect from them today?
You're gonna put it to me? I'll tell you right now what I think of Team Secret. I think that this is a team that's been going to more lands, getting more experience. They're getting into NA scrims. They're getting into NA leagues. They're starting to play a lot more aggressive. They're starting to play a lot more confident. And I think that's starting to show in some of their play. Now, obviously, they're still having some rough times with the rotations. But, you know, I feel like that everybody's having tough times with their rotations right now.
I think they thrive in regional tournaments. They do really, really well, especially when there's a couple of, say, wild card type teams in there. I think at some of these where you have 16 of the best teams in the world and everybody's very crisp on the shot, that's the problem, is they can't deal with these first and second bullet hitting every time. And that's what you're dealing with fighting Liquid and FaZe and guys like that. So I need them to sort of crisp up, like you said, those rotations and be ready for the first shot hit.
I think that's also very important for them to be into the North American scene with the scrims, because they're owning the regional qualifiers for every tournament. This is the third tournament coming in through a qualifier, so they're just owning that. So for them to be able to, for the next lands in the future as well, they need to keep training against the better teams, because they're not going to learn anymore playing just against the regional guys.
Now it is time for your predictions, Porosaurus. I'm definitely going to ask you for yours, but first, Avenger, we come to you.
I'm confident Kingwin is going to take another win today. I think this is the one.
Let's go, Optic. I'm hyped, man. I think that they're ready. They've been on the edge of this. They almost had it last time. Let's take it home and get it this time.
Porosaurus.
Give me Tempo Storm.
Give you Tempo Storm.
Tempo Storm. I mean,
I think we can sort you out for that.
They've been so close. They've been so close, and then they're just getting. I don't know. It's I'm feeling them.
Maybe we can get you out in the crowd. You can razz people up and help Tempo Storm bring that chicken dinner to the table. I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna really quickly. Okay, I'm gonna go Optic. I'm being boring. I just feel like maybe they'll get less passive in the next game. They need to tip themselves up. They need to catch up with FaZe before it's too late. But let's see what you guys at home thought in chat. FaZe on 13%. Space Station Gaming, 23% Vitality, also still capturing the audience, and Pittsburgh Knights with 13%.
Impressive to see Envy this year, less than 1%. They were the winners of yesterday. They came out on top after yesterday, and now less than 1% in the chat.
Well, let's throw it over to Pansy and Sims, because I want to get their predictions too.
you know, I actually hate doing predictions for games. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna go
Tell
full
us the dark horse then.
I'm gonna
Give
go
us a
full
dark horse.
CS:GO caster on this and just be like, nah, I'm not giving you predictions. I'm going full Yanko. You
I
can
will
do it.
come back there, Pansy.
Fight me.
I know where you are.
Let's go.
Fight me.
I'll echo Steve's words. I think second place for Optic Gaming without a chicken dinner is unbelievable amount of work. To be able to do that and that placement without getting a win, it speaks volumes about this team, and to come through a very grueling, you know, open bracket to make it here through BYOC. There's so much in the bag for Optic. This isn't the best of them. There's still a lot more. They're in second. Honestly, they're a challenger for this tournament.
In other words, Sims, you believe.
I believe.
You believe. Well,
I believe.
Let's see if you're believing wins a chicken dinner for Optic.
Well, we are going to find out indeed. I think it's a good bet to have. I mean, they are sitting within the top 3, but it's anyone's game. I just look at the teams who've been playing rotations really well. I think Liquid, I thought this would be the fire to kind of like push them in the right direction. I'm not seeing that. It looks like they've kind of slipped off a little bit. I don't know what's holding them back. If they're tired, if it's just not clicking today, something's not right with them here. It could turn around. I don't doubt them to be able to do that. I know it's still Liquid, but I'm thinking other teams out here are bringing a far better brand of PUBG currently. I'm looking at your Optics, your FaZe. Also, Tempo Storm's rotations in the last game were absolutely excellent. They could be another team that could certainly challenge.
Team Envious is still up there as well. There are so many teams that are fighting for this one. There's still 4 maps remaining today and $50,000 to be won. No one's out of it just yet. All right, we've got a couple of teams struggling. Vitality, one of the big names, unfortunately not having the best of weekends so far. Now, this is where we get to this kind of point, Lauren, where we look at these teams and say, okay, theoretically, there will come a point where they can't win. It's as simple as that. But there's still a lot of money on for several placements below that. Will they just say, okay, lads, let's get stuck in here. Let's just go hunting. Let's find kills. Let's crack on with it. Let's get this job done. There will be a point where they just think, well, we can't win, so what else do we do? Let's just play a different game. Let's go have some fun. Let's go frag out. Let's have it. You know, that's the only way they're kind of going to do it. All right, you got to get the win in there because the placement points are so far behind everybody else. They're probably the only way to do this is to kill the other teams, eliminate them, and jump a placement.
It's going to be a factor, and of course, ladies and gents, it's time to get excited. We do get to see another game of PUBG. 3 more to go after this to find out who walks away with all of that money in their pocket. But so much to be seen. We've seen teams stepping up today to a degree I didn't think was possible. I thought we peaked yesterday. I thought these teams were starting to reach their limits, but no, we are seeing more and more coming from these guys. And the ability, the possibility of hot dropping does become apparent now. This is where it does become a factor. If teams do want to start pushing for it, we might see some here. But for now, I'm looking at Envy and Kinguin as well. We saw adjustments from Envy last game, moving away from Kinguin, who are aggressive towards them in the prior matchup, and teams now adjusting to each other.
Beautiful playing route. We start up just left of Severny and diagonally hit the east coast. End down towards Novo. Everybody's going to be able to go home. I'm hearing lots of noise outside as well. Thank you, audience. We can hear you back here as well, so you're doing a very, very good job. Tempo, they're allowed to go home. They'll be on the west coast. Kinguin, usual spots. Envious, no struggles there whatsoever. Dignitas, they're going to hit Severny. Happy, happy days. Liquid, you can see now, they're looking for vehicles. They'll wander around, they'll get the scout, take the utility and move back to Yasnaya. Interesting play coming out of Nop Nop. He's going to go a little bit further, overextend it. That's why you can see dives inside a vehicle. Will then drive back to town. Bauwaka still doing the same thing. This is kind of what you generally see from all these teams. They'll get the ability to be able to move on the fly. One place that might get a little bit close together, I'm looking at SSG. They're right next to Wildcat. Wildcat have got 2 vehicles. Well, maybe they see these lone droppers and run them over.
And that'd be a huge loss.
He's going for it.
You know that, oh God, the trees, the forest. You should have a bit of cover, but with a player in the car, you could always get out and go for the punch if you want to be a wild shot.
Reversed it over. There's another one in the distance, though. There's another one still coming down. So they catch him.
Oh, good moves, good moves.
Jump in it.
Oh, no, there's 2.
No! As if that happened. And now he's going to beat him down. Talk about BM at his finest.
Summer child pride.
I have never in my life seen 2 cars work together.
There's revenge for you. Get absolutely wrecked, Pride. You got out, you took your time, and look at this turn of events.
Beat him down.
Oh, he's going for the punch. Oh, there it is. Revenge, ladies and gents. Perfect.
It tastes so damn sweet. And they're still moving. And they're still hearing bullets in the background. Does he have a gun? No, he doesn't. He has a smoke. They will continue through so they can just play the game. But my God, you don't get away without that one. They will get the trade-off, but that's where it started. Unfortunate for these teams, losing players this early on. It's okay in all fun and games to have a bit of banter and laugh it off for us here on the desk, but for them, that loses initial player early. That's not great. Georgia Paul, busy as ever. 2 teams, Kinguin and Team Envious. Simple enough. No early engagements, north and south, split between. Get the gear, head to the circle. It's not too far. FaZe there on the edge. Vitality are there as well. So is Secret. So is SSG. They're all going to be on the southern extremities of that circle, just chilling, doing the thing for now. The people that kind of come a bit of an apparent problem late game might be the Knights, because they're spread across the central area of that circle. And if one of them's got a big buy gun, you know, AKM, something like that, pass by on the rotation, might get a cheeky kill.
I'm trying to think, where did we see this circle before? Where did it go? Because we've seen similar to this. We've seen...
I want to say it went down. In the qualifiers, it went to FaZe staying in the buildings.
Yes, we saw that hit Yasnaya. Yeah, you're right.
But in previous ones, it has kind of pulled down towards more Prism.
Yes, we saw Prism.
It was yesterday, actually. The Knights won this one from Prism,
over.
Yeah.
So again, Knights are very good at this because they get so much room early on. If you look at their positioning, they maintain position on 3 to 4 spots, really polarizing spots as well. That's a nice bit of Yasnaya and the sky.
Enjoy your drop, Team Liquid. But what you're going to get, please give James an arm. Just so we can
You don't ask for much, do you?
Just give James an arm and let him do some damage. It's better than no.
It's okay.
It's fine. It's better than nothing.
I like the little hit of a painkiller too. You know, something you get the chocolate on your bed pillow when you go to a hotel. It's like that little ooh.
That's because there's no arm in there. So it's like, there's a painkiller. We're sorry. Maybe next time.
Deal with your sadness in other ways. I don't think, you know, recommending Liquid to medicate their problems is the best way forward. But I mean, they have been having bad games, so hopefully something helps. Knights, though, as said, good positioning. Curious to see where FaZe rotate in towards and when they go for that. They've been so good during this. And credit where it's due. Yesterday morning, or at the start of the games, they were not on point. They were not playing their game. They were not hitting the rotations. They were not being as aggressive as usual. It didn't feel like things were lining up. Towards the end of the day, you started to see that FaZe resurgence. We know they've got I guess, the longevity to them as a roster, but you need to see that, and we really did. So excellent work from FaZe on recovery.
I think the best way to kind of say this one with FaZe, I might be talking complete crap here, and
it might have just conviction been, and no one will notice.
It might have been just a rough few games, but I generally think that they play the initial one early and a bit more passive to kind of get the lay of the land, see who's, you know, test the water, who's going to be playing, what are these games going to be like, because this is obviously a new environment. They've played against, you know, teams from different regions before, but there's a lot of North American rosters here. We've had teams coming up through the open side of it, through the open brackets. So I think they like to kind of sit back, get the lay of the land. Okay, boys, we now know how this competition is going to be. We generally have an idea of how people are going to be playing. Again, with so many different teams in there, if it's one thing these teams like to do is they know where people are going to rotate off of. They'll have a long list in the back of their heads. It's okay knowing where you go to next circle, but it's also knowing where your enemies are going to go to next circle.
I'm really curious. Liquid have moved extremely early this time. Now, keep in mind where the circle is. They've moved very quickly. Again, prioritizing position clearly over anything else. And I saw a bit of feedback coming in from some of the players saying they looked scared to take fights. It looked like they weren't, you know, up for the challenge. They were kind of prioritizing it too much towards that side. I think it was Andy coming in. He's meant to be on holiday. Stop watching the games. Get back to the pool. Chill out. Enjoy the sun. However, again, we're seeing something similar to that now. Ibis is being sent off on his own, but everyone else is starting to begin. The early rotators, the ones who really prioritize trying to get central, are in the fight. And actually, we're seeing Optic having a bit of a, you know, a bit of a scuffle with them. This could be problematic. And again, that compound's not bad, but it's still a little isolated. You kind of want the hill to supplement it, but Optic aren't allowing that for free. They've got a nice line of sight here. Long-range shot, don't get me wrong, but, you know, Hetra very capable to do so. With a suppressor too, hard to lock that down.
They're going to get the vehicle inside, so Liquid, they'll split on this 2-2. They've actually gone back to Yasnaya, Skoom and Ibit, working together. A couple of fights that are going to come apparent as well. The Knights, they've seen where Secret are, just hitting the big air raid shelter, warehouse hangar, whatever you want to call it. Where MPX is as well. That's a lovely little compound. You got the 2 buildings in front. You got like the burnt out cars from behind. That is a banger of a shot. Voxic with the Kar 98 finds Fiend. That must be through the window. And while all this is kicking off, we'll see these teams starting to slowly rotate. Totality are in the mist, just in the back line. Texas with an SLR 2-2 as well. When you're 2-2'd up like this, you have at least enough confidence in yourself to be able to take a fight should you need it. I've talked about, you know, next fight survivability quite a lot. I'll tell you who might join in this one. Totality have just pulled up. They were going to advance a bit more forward, but they're stopped on the hillside. All the Knights are getting together now. Do they want to get involved? Because if they want to jump up there, they've got to start, A, getting placement higher, but B, getting these kills. 12 points per kill, all right, might not seem enough, and we do know generally placement's better to go for, i.e. Optic Gaming.
Yeah.
We saw what they were doing yesterday. We saw what they're doing today. Still in second place without that win. But again, if you can pick up some kills, maybe upgrade level 2s if they're not damaged off the bodies of your enemies, maybe sneak a can anti-8 if one of them's got it. The meds are always a big problem. We'll see how this one kind of unfolds, because we've still got a bloody big circle and still plenty of room to play with. Dignitas, they've come down from the mountains. They're still sticking kind of by the big mountain, just running around the edge of Stalbert, past the little plateau farm outside of the fields of Yasnaya. Who else needs to come in? Let me look further afield. Tempo Storm.
I was about to say, look where FaZe are as well. Straight to prison. Just put them in there, lock them up, throw away the key, don't let them out.
It's the only way you win these games, get rid of them
Pretty
early.
much. Knights going to dedicate themselves towards Mansion as well. I quite like that. Mansion was kind of stepped away from a lot from the other teams for quite some time. We'll see where that circle really goes towards. A lot of the teams have been quite early on this move, though, so there's still a lot of players outside of this. And beep, I'm in a Jeep. Good job, Chip.
Panicking. Ding, 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 ding.
Is that SOS in Jeep form?
I think so.
Yeah.
Either that or it's just like, well, we're going to have a bit of fun. If he can get up the hill, that is. His tyres are intact, so happy days for that one. A little bit of a loss of health as he hits the side of the wall. Nova will carry on, just peppering from a distance. They don't really need to, just wasting bullets at this point. Another airdrop's come in. Ibiza's up there, but it's smack bang in the wilderness. It's well and truly in the open. Let's talk about debating players into the open.
You're just debating chat now, but aren't you?
I am. I want to see it. Spam the emote. Another Groza in play. Again, strongest AR in the game, but still the level 3s are the vital key component of those boxes now. There is another box just on the bridge. It depends if someone takes a really northern swing. I mean, there is potential for Tempo Storm to do, because they're still out just in the fields of Gatka. Late flyers to the party. Wildcard Gaming, they're actually being held back by SSG at the moment. Wildcard are on the beach to give you some sort of update. SSG are there down near Ferry Pier. The last team to hit the circle now who just arrived, that will be Godres across.
God, there's so many teams around this. The crossroads slap bang in the middle. There's so many teams here. It's actually obscene. Every bit of terrain that's available, they're already dug down. They've got, you know, got the vehicles stuck in. I like the spot from Totality. You can get pinched on, but I mean, they're holding to this dip really well. Again, there's so many. It's so concentrated at the moment. You've got Tempo Storm being quite late to this. I quite like them taking their time, if I'm completely honest. I'd rather that be the case. It's so tough to find any room now.
I mean, Totality have been here pretty much for the last 5-10 minutes now. They dug in early and they were happy to just stay there. Clearly they believe in it. All these teams playing at this level will know the lay of the land. If you do want to play at a professional level, there's no way you don't know every single meter, centimeter, millimeter of defilade, you know, dips that you can get into.
Uh-oh, Kingwin. You do not want that team Optic on your tail. Find a bit of Gaxi. I know it's Optic, you don't need to 360 no-scope away. Like, I mean, you're fine. Just back off from this. And it's a lot of posturing from these teams just because they don't want to get pushed. It's obviously a real attempt to get shots through, but it's mostly showing that they're there. It's like, okay, this is not available. And where are they off to? Hello?
They're off on the travels. I fancy it.
It's school holiday time. I mean, fair enough. Go for a trip, go for a nice holiday, but dangerous game you're playing going 2-2 at this point.
James receives some fire. Here's we're coming back, 8 times on the minute. The green gun. DMRs do a lot of damage. It's a beautiful little weapon. Just keep tap firing that thing. So in the previous one with the red dot circle updates.
Good circle read for most of the teams, going
nice.
Very central. Wondering if anyone goes a little further north now. No one's really sat towards a petrol station by Yasnaya or any of the kind of, I guess, northwestern huts. Envy's are pretty close to it, but most teams are kind of centralized towards the southern side. Kingwin going to pull back those 2 players who are sat towards the hill, maybe try and find a new position to go to, as they are going for the 2-2 split. So they want to keep as many options available as they can. It's mostly to create a rotation route for the other teammates, but Totality about to be breached here. It could be an up and over job if they aren't careful. And you are seeing it, 4 players now starting to pour out above them. Totality up for the fight though, but do they get the kills or are they stolen? Shiv goes down, that's a big pickup. Jeem's now trying to get the third-party system going, but again, not easy. The nade underhand, but oh, is that going to be a good one? Is that close enough? It looks like they're being stolen in front of him. Smithy is there to try and get these kills going, and that's devastating for Vitality. You've got Araxi left alive, but he's not safe either. He's got fire coming in everywhere. Another tag. I don't think he can stay alive here, and this is a huge loss for them. The smoke goes up, but...
Oh, the vehicle.
Oh, a couple more bullets towards that, a couple more nades. It's a war zone towards him.
He died in the previous round by a vehicle. He's trying to stay alive, but my God, what do you do here? Totality smell blood. They know he's still there. You could hear the bullets in the background. You could see the bullets just pinging off of the vehicle. Who exactly was that onto him? There's definitely another team across his shoulder. Meanwhile, Totality from the backlines as well. Nathan's still getting involved. He's just stimming up like a bad man, trying to get as much help as he possibly can. Tick, tick, tick away. That's another grenade I've just heard. Keep an eye on the kill feed, see if he goes down, because this could literally be the end of Vitality, potentially. I'm not a mathematician, but if he goes down in 16th, that might deny them guaranteeing first place or any chance of getting near it. Just as an update as well, I want to touch on something FaZe have done. They've actually gone from the prison. They've gone out of the circle and headed up behind Yasnaya. They've taken the longest route all the way around, got away from every single person humanly possible, and gone into Yaz. They're hoping the circle swings their way.
Yeah, it's Secret in the back lines. They're the ones laying down the fire. You had 2 teams or 2 kind of positions of the team keeping eyes on this. You had the split towards the big hut and the nice little compound just south side of that position. And well, Vitality, a huge loss for them. A very poor performance. They're pretty frustrated themselves. I mean, unlucky to a degree, but they've been really struggling. We saw them having one really good game and then the rest didn't quite have that consistency.
I mean, you remember when they were back in the days, Evolved. Everyone saw Evolve coming up through the ranks. This is going to be a tier 1 team one day.
Yep.
We all heard about them in the early days of seeing them play, then AAA picked them up. Lo and behold,
so good.
They were. Then they went to Auckland and wham bam, thank you, ma'am. They take home the trophy, the first pretty much PUBG major, and now they're struggling. They're a different, completely different. I mean, does it just maybe stand the test of time to say potentially all the other teams have adapted and changed around them and they've just kind of stayed a little bit stale to play the games and maybe lay on the laurels too much?
Yeah, it honestly might be. I'm not too sure. And I was discussing players going further north if that was going to be a possibility. Actually, FaZe have done that. They've gone towards the petrol station side and the yellow houses up there. Envy already positioned towards that. But the south side is still filled with players. You've got a lot of the teams kind of rotating in, trying to get some prime spot towards the shelter side along that kind of ridge line, the hill that runs south of the current circle. But I'm wondering who's going to really get that next circle hit, who's going to get that favor. We know FaZe read the circles well. I think it's a bit of a meme by this point, but it's a good one.
They like to edge the bets. Except he'll put the bike in there, keep its tyres clean. He might be looking to go for this drop. I don't know if he's going to hang back and let the bike chill for now. It'll be a ballsy play because it's out in the open. Fuzz is going to join him in the back lines. They do have Envious. If any of those MV boys have sniper rifles, they are going to pick a faces. They've got to play this one very carefully. It's literally between a rock and a hard place. Further afield, I mean, FaZe's rotation kind of speaks dividends here. They went from prison, they went up past Lipovka, just outside, through the Yasnaya fields, back of Yasnaya, down through the pond.
Circle's going to be coming in any second now. This is going to be huge. This could be a bit of a shift. If it does come in, could really cut out a couple of teams. Let's find it. Faced again, still well. Envy in a very similar position. I like that. Dignitas, very good too. Liquid, not bad at all. Optic, good. A lot of the big names, the heavy hitters, really holding ground here. The outskirts are going to be threatening. Kingwin become gatekeepers. You've got Liquid being the same. Totality going to struggle to move a little further forward if they want to try and edge their way in. Dignitas as well. Eastern side is going to become their kingdom.
All the rotations come through. If you watch this map, it's going to be like a little ant farm. Everyone's starting to make their move. Envious, they move to the yellows. They get central. Same for FaZe. They're all stepping up. As soon as Envious move places, Kingwin, they move into the compound they previously had. Tempo Storm now really, really quickly. They're going for a bit of a larger dip. They'll get also a free care package here. They're going to go past an unclaimed drop, so they actually might get themselves a big boy gun. Totality still trying to pick up kills as other people do fly past them. That's a tag.
Good shot on one. Not enough to continue forward, but Ibby's found one of the Kingwin players.
Teammate.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. Larson was quite late to the party. The rest of Kinguin are safe unless they get picked out of maybe a house or a Khan shot comes through. But still, Liquid taking a lot of fights here. They're being very loud in this battle. So are Knight, so are Dignitas. Envy sitting a little quieter, but they're certainly very central here.
Exit is taking shots in the field from Kinguin. They know where they are, and they do have the line of sight. They also have that nice little wall just to protect the bodies. They got the scopes, they got the long-distance guns. Tempo flying all the way around from west to east. Where do they enter, though? Are they going potentially for heaven? Because if they do, they'll have Dignitas to deal with when they arrive. That could be all kinds of danger. Godrez still yet to make the way in. Same goes there, unfortunately. For Larson, he's dead and gone. Scoom finishes him off. Nova have opted to move in, and as they do this, Tempo Storm are also in effect as the backside of Yasnaya, just behind the library or the police station, as some like to call it. I'm quite surprised not many more people have died on that rotation. They were very, very wide.
Yeah, they all went kind of that clockwise swing around the north side of Yasnaya. Yeah. A lot of teams did it. A little late to the party is Rusky, but they're going to cut through on the bridge. They're going to be in the eyesights of Kinguin. There is a deflate and a dip there, so they could be okay towards that one. It depends if they can get the cover quick enough. FaZe could turn attention. Gemty's being bold. He went for that drop there in the middle of the field.
Hexetis tried twice now to grab it, and he's been pushed back by Envious once, and then pushed back by Kinguin. Gemty's like, oh, you know what? Balls to it. Let's just go crack on. Sharky also through the rotation on that one. He actually picked up the other crate that was on the Yasnaya bridge. So a couple of big boy guns are going to be in play here. Again, throughout the entirety of that movement, Benk is the only second player to fall. Uncivil hits him in the face with the SLR.
Yeah, a tough situation for Tempo Storm. It's a good enough bit of cover. There's not much, but you can get down the ridges and dips, hopefully. You're seeing them pressured, though. The more noise you make, the worse it feels. Dignitas going to keep eyes across this as well. Everyone's in a good spot. I like Uncivil's split here, actually. The rest of his team are kind of doing what they want. He's being a very aggressive scout. He can do as he pleases. A bit of a flex player, it seems.
SSG, that's an M24. Fiend, that's the second time he's been knocked now, so 100%. His durability on his gear is going to be weak. He's also going to be bleeding out fast should he go down again. Still scoping in on these compounds, and this kind of play, because there's so much room, especially with so much of the cornfields in, it all comes down to who's got the hills, who's got the line of sight, because it's literally the fields of death. You have obviously the bales of hay to hide behind, but apart from that, everything is open.
A south swing around. Liquid have circle. FaZe didn't get the circle, Richard. What?
Blown away.
Is this?
I'm stunned. Okay, so now this kind of becomes a little bit harder. They have the vehicles parked inside, obviously, the containers. But you've got 2, 3, 4 teams potentially moving at them. So all of a sudden, the vehicles, they'll be there. It's time to rotate. It's time to move. It's time to get the hell out of here.
A Knight's making a play on towards Liquid as well.
It looks that way.
That's very aggressive. That's a very bold move. I'm hoping they find a bit of cover and they're okay once they get there. It's big shots, though, from Voxic, cracking open a way forward if they wanted. That Kar98 beginning to sing in his hands. Going to be moving forward, using the defilade of the hill to show as minimal amount as he can, and allowing Texas to play a bit of a flanking role. Again, this position is good under the assumption you normally split the hill on the northern side of it. It really complements it and denies splits coming in like we're seeing from Texas. But that's very... It's a risky play with 15 teams alive here. Oh, Zampa.
He's made it in. And this is what I was saying yesterday about the defilades on the side of heaven. You can get up close and personal, so if you just, breach them, so to speak. If you hit them, you're then out of the line of sight. But still, heaven in itself, it's one of those where you kind of wait on those sides and let teams advance outwards. Dignitas have to come out. Tempo Storm will absolutely know this.
Optic might get a bit of pressure here. Keep in mind, Kinguin are there. You've got one of the other teams. Who is that just up to the north? I think that's Rusky there. In the open field, very little cover. This becomes a terrain battle. These teams know exactly where things are. And we, as said, Kinguin now find connection towards one of the Rusky players. Looking for more. Totality laying down the fire here as well. That's a lot of pressure towards Secret, who need to run towards them. That's where safety lays, but you don't like running at gunshots or driving towards it, should I say. Papaya does find cover, but his teammates are not so lucky.
Two of them do fall simultaneously. Fiend's gone. That was his third knock. Bleed out. Papaya, he's about to die as well. One more tap will do the job, and there it is. Smitty, he hits the floor as well. And now Secret. They're all just falling. Look at that. That's an M24 kill. MPX literally holding on for dear life. The 24 seals the deal. Secret's fate lands in 15th place. Boom go the vehicles, no one's there, but Secret that is left in the midst of burnt out vehicles and burning smoke.
Yeah, and now look at this, we're down to 14 teams. This becomes crunch time. There isn't that much viable cover for the teams on the outskirts. FaZe playing it late, putting Fuzzface and his teammate further forward, being the two players to be the, I guess, forward men, being the tip of the spear to be thrown towards the enemies. Nova in trouble, already losing our nerf there. Richie is under fire from Dignitas too. You've got a little bit of a scuffle here. Kinguin on the move though. They're getting back in the vehicles and back on the run, but there's nowhere really free and available. They're going right towards FaZe here. Fuzzface and Gemty both standing on the other side. If they see them coming their way, that's gonna be a lot of fire coming towards them, and that's gonna ward Kinguin off this. They've got other vehicles though. They might be trying to take a fight here, but they're in the open fields. Gemty would love to take him down, and this is such an underrated ridge that FaZe have. If the circle ends towards the side, which it won't, that is one of the most OP spots it holds. Now, they're being quite smart about this, but Voxic again, that's his second knock towards Liquid here.
So we've had both Samty and Ibi fall. There were headshots, so you'd expect those helmets to now be removed. Tempo Storm are in a bit of a difficulty. There's no cover where they are currently. You can play off the back of the very tiny hillside that does run rampant all the way through, but Tumai catches one. He'll knock him and he'll let him die to the blue. Just let him live there for a second and carry on moving. Kickstart comes through though with a grenade. That's Nova going down. Landum, he's dead. Mad Rusky hits the deck as well. Grenade comes through. That's a double from Valiant. Rusky, Nop. That must be only one member, surely, of the Ruskies left.
It looks like it, and it might be Sharky just sat there prone down, trying to not get in this battle. You've got Optic and Kinguin in the back lines taking fights, and actually it's Texas coming through the SLR, beginning to rain down terror towards them. They're losing out on players, and Kinguin didn't have a position to go towards without being watched. And the circle will be moving pretty darn soon, and that plays so well towards Liquid. SSG, you've got Knights in a good spot, quick rotations coming down. SSG maintain massive amount of room towards the south side. Prodigy's under pressure too. He's going to find maybe a bit of cover, but you're going to see every single player towards the north in real dire straits. They need to bail it south, but there's not much room to go to.
Bookie, grenade, straight onto Totality, does the damage, eliminates a few players. Smithy's on the back line, so he needs to be careful because Gustav, his back is well and truly open. Two players appear in front of him. There's one, lovely little knock, dinks him in the face with the AKM. Out comes the 3 times tap, tap, tap. His teammates there to support him as well.
This should be good. Actually, Gustav goes down. Totality maintain dominance for now. Dignitas do answer back finally and push themselves forward. Continuing the pressure, the nades go up, but it's Totality down and out, eliminated. But FaZe under fire, as are Optic, and they are not coming out good here. The circle has not played well to them. The rotations are not kind, and Sharky trying to punish on the road, trying to do what he can, as Texas is the one doing it towards Envy, trying to be those gatekeepers, but that blue is on the move, and this one hurts.
Sharky's going to hold him back, and I did see earlier on, he did loot a crate, obviously didn't go for the weapon, but instead went for the level 3s. He can run this circle if he really wants to, and he can just chill. Can take a few bullets here and there, but not too many. Gemty's dead, Kickstart's dead, so's Bad, so's Marika. In fact, so's all of Kinguin. They're gone, 13th place becomes their home, and all of a sudden it's back onto Envious. Texas, double kill with a grenade there. That's going to be massive. Zampa, are you okay, mate? Hits the tire, hits the deck, he's dead and gone. SSG, once again with this M24 causing all kinds of problems across the map.
And look at the terrain SSG are holding as well. If we can get eyes on that at some point, it's huge. It's a massive dip in the ground that they can just peek up and be the dominant position to rain down any fire they want. The circle complements it very well. They have massive amount. Now, Dignitas could spoil this. They do have a man split towards that side to try and handle it. But with Nova gone, this now makes things a little bit trickier. 11 teams standing. Dignitas might move on this, and this is Smurf. This is the guy who could be the one containing any threats here. If he can maintain this position, he spots one. That's going to be a cool made, surely. That's going to mean other players who are on that SSG side do need to now pay attention towards this. Fuzzface found Sharky, so that's pretty interesting at this point here. Sharky goes down, and actually FaZe hold on. They're on the northern side, really struggling, but Dignitas are trying to creep forward. They're trying to work it out as well, but Smurf holds the line, and they're not breaching past him. That southeast side looks like it's locked between two teams.
FaZe are in a fantastic dip right now, but the issue is, depending where the next circle goes, should they have to move, they have 3 teams on 3 different angles. They literally need to take out Tempo to at least give them some sort of breathing room and then maybe potentially push on to Optic. Praise the Lord for them. The circle actually went their way, so they are inside. They can stay here for now. They can keep back Tempo Storm because Tempo don't really have anywhere else to go. Fuzzface with the mini, drills it into his skull. Banks dead, so is Dre. 9th place, Tempo Storm, they're out of this one.
They started to look real good, Tempo Storm, but unable to replicate that now. This circle is punishing so many teams. Caps it, trying to find some shots, but that is not coming through. Where are these shots coming in from?
Hitwin, I don't know how many knocks this has been now. That is...
do not try and breach Scoom right now. He's looking good. Actually, it works out. Venerated is there. James was too little too late, it looks like. They've lost out on the main man himself. So now Liquid do stay alive, but it's Envy who suffer. They tried to make a mad dash towards Liquid's compound, and they trade a whole team for one man. Scoom going down is a loss, but I guess you got to... pick your fights at this point, and that's not a fight you want to win. Adam just clipped in the heels.
Hitwin, how are you doing this? I'd love to know how many knocks this guy's got. Like,
this position they're in is so good as well.
He's causing problems for like so many different teams though. He must have got at least 9 knocks on 8 different teams, surely.
He's got 5 confirmed kills. Oh no, he's under. He overextended. He didn't expect the Knights. They're so far away though. That's a 200-300 meter shot at this point in this tiny circle. That's big. That is a big player removed from this one. Playing very nicely for Dignitas, alleviating that pressure from the southeast side. The remaining player of SSG is now feeling the pressure. Gustav wants to clean this out, but does he spot the angle? Oh, he gets turned on. Gustav, he doesn't expect it. Smurf is still there. He stands up, tries to stand tall, but it gets cut down in the end by Adam. So the south side remains controlled by Dignitas as SSG get removed.
Just lying in the shadows at least gets a knock, but unfortunately does go down. In an answer back to it, Ibi, SLR 6 times in hand. Going to get the information for the rest of the team. James on the back foot also. They'll be able to at least clear these players out. I think Envious obviously have 1 player outside as well, so those body bags will be going their way. Dig, there's only really 1 way to go. You don't want to go central here, otherwise they're going to get battered. However, again, as you can see from Adam's POV, you do have all these inclines that they can move between. They know there's players in here, but then again, so do Liquid as well. That's the bigger issue now for Godrez. I'm not sure how many are alive. It's literally those 2. They're going to have to pray that someone else falls before them, because as soon as they step out, they're going to be dying.
Yeah, I'm looking at Knights here. Voxic having brilliant positioning too. Actually able to pin down Dignitas and have really good vision on everyone else with safety from Liquid, who are their big danger. They have a really nice heal. That's going to be removed away from them, obviously, very soon. But we'll see what they get on this circle coming in. Dignitas could pressure them, but it's not a nice push for them at all. They'd need smokes. It would be, again, if that circle goes anywhere else, that plays very nicely for Dignitas. It's time to move, boys. Liquid's in trouble. FaZe is in a bit of trouble. Everyone's going to be in a bit of a pickle here. This circle is not kind, and it plays very well to Dignitas, who have the defilade.
You've still got to remember, all this has been going down. Optic, they've just laid down. They've just chilled. They're in second place currently as they do move towards this. As I say that, he steps up. Fuzz is on the back line. Fuzz is watching this one. He knows they're still there, and he knows the flank is possible.
And Knights are pushing in as well from the east. They're going to be going down towards Dignitas. FaZe are being brute forced. They're just trying to batter their way forward. Keep eyes on Knights as well in the background. They will be making their way on the slow side. Uncivil should be watching that, but if Knights gain this ground, if they breach this without being checked on, that is huge. No tags landing just yet. Kramer working his way forward. Dignitas could have a nasty surprise if the timing is right. Uncivil should be the port of call, but they found a little bit of room just to work from. No, they're not just yet. They'd need to move south, but they're waiting on everyone else to get into this, so they don't have to get all the attention. Uncivil's checking on it, though. Uncivil's running up. He spots down one. He hits the prone, but he can't get away from this. Surely he's going to be done for. Good tags, but no frags. He will get picked up in the end, but now the fight comes back in. Knights are being beheaded.
That's from the shack as well. There's a trade-off. He gets one. Hetra sees him as soon as he steps out there. Prodigy, he wants some more though, and unfortunately Wookie Bucky's got the number red. Big kill there, allows Dignitas to continue through. The Knights are up, they're getting people saved at the back line.
Now look on the other side here. These guys are the southeast teams. They're battling, but Liquid currently have players in the circle. They have James watching the cross, and they're keeping FaZe out. Fuzz, FaZe,
Optic dead.
Muxy gonna have to work their way in. Optic just got punished from both squads. This is a big battle on that northwest side. Knights can be a real kind of annoying factor, as can Dignitas, but they're busy with each other. FaZe need to move forward, and Liquid, they're holding the line for now.
James just going to lob the flashbang just to kind of scare FaZe, and he's doing that. Oh my God, FaZe could potentially actually hit the backlines here of Liquid. Fuzz, they've overextended, they've gone out into the white. The blue will force them in soon. They've been spotted cross-map by Knights. This has kind of played spoiler to what they were looking for, and now they have to rotate back.
The hard part for FaZe is that the positions don't work well. If they try and get into the safety, this is the only angle they can really have for now. If they try and move any further forward, they're in Liquid vision or they're in Knights vision. So it's really tricky for them now to go forward. They need to start maybe winning some of these battles, but it's very polarizing here. Look at this map. We've got 4 teams who have their ground. That next position is massive.
Oh, my.
There's nothing there. There's a little bit of, let's look at what they have. There's almost nothing. So Knights get the high ground, as do Dig to a degree. Liquid have a bit of a dip. They might have an edge of a defilade, and FaZe have a small hill incline. So it's gonna be a lot of fights, a lot of rotations. Let's see how they pick these fights. Knights continuing forward towards Dignitas for now. They're still trying to find this angle. Voxic finding Wookie Bookie, leaving Adam feeling very alone here. A 1v3 to contain this threat. He gets down one. He gets the second tag. Oh, he got the kill, but it's not good enough. He does go down in the end. Nice try from the Dig side. But now the push begins between FaZe and Liquid. They're just teetering on the edge. They're not sure when they're going to push yet. When they have to go is very soon, though. You've got 17 seconds and not much ground to go to.
The Knights can get all their players back up, though. That's the saving grace. You can hear the bullets that are coming through. Haxetti knows where Knights are exactly. They'll know that we also all tanked up, very in danger. The utility, it will be all kind of smashed a bit.
Look at FaZe. They're pushing already. They're just going to try and snake it up, get there as fast as they can, but that's a really awkward spot. They have to get to cover. He needs to find something. Oh, he spotted the players. Oh, that's so aggressive from FaZe. Moxie is there. Haxetti is there. Knights getting destroyed. This is mad aggression. They put in fast pace to lock down the entirety of Liquid. That is huge pressure on him. He needs to hold back the flood. Otherwise, they're done for. And now Liquid going to move their way north. The remainder of Knights sits on the southeast, and FaZe are hungry for this. They're showing aggression and diligence while doing it.
James wants a little bit, though. Fuzz says, okay, I'll watch the backside now. Over on the opposing side, Haxetti, but James steps up. That's the Groza coming to play. Headshot on him, Haxetti across the map. It's two teams left, FaZe versus Liquid.
Fuzzface is right amongst them, though. Look at this. He's a step away, but James is tearing them to shreds. And now Haxetti left to deal with it all. He's got so many of the Liquid players to do it, and he's done for. He's not letting them get the satisfaction. Get to the blue, give up the game. This is going to be Liquid's.
Let's go Liquid. They bag a win. That's what they needed, exactly in that manner. It'll do so much for the confidence going through, but the boys, they finally got it under the belt. And the dominance can continue through. The bigger question is, what can they do now? They only have 3 more games in order to take their first piece of silverware. Remember, this is Liquid's only second LAN. They've only been to one before, and they came second place. If they want to do better, they have to get the win, they have to get the silverware, they have to get first.
Absolutely. I'm looking at Liquid there. That positioning from them in the circles was good. We saw the early rotations, but it played well to them. They held that compound for a long time. I'm looking at FaZe for being such a brute force of a team. They did not have the circle. They were up in the north with Optic for such a long time. What a road they had to walk through to even get that close, but what an exciting end of things. That was an incredible game.
It's fantastic to see those two big teams kind of at that level going for it, you know, one-on-one. Again, you kind of look to Haxetti, clutching it up, moving out, overextending. That's what the man's so damn good at. He knows in his mind, as soon as he hears bullets, like, okay, that means there's a fight.
Can I go for this?
Exactly.
Perfect control on that right. I think we need a break after that one. It's been an absolute pleasure. Obviously, D-Man and Matchroom will be up next. Austin, you've been incredible. Stay tuned. There'll be more coming up. But guys on the desk, what did you make of that battle? We had the big boys fighting it out.
And I do love it when big boys fight it out. Thank you so much, Pansy and Sims. You set me up perfectly for that one. Oh my goodness, the end of that. FaZe just turning it out every single time, and yet it was Liquids, of course, in the end.
It was good to see Liquid back on the horse. They did a great job there. It went to victory. It was just good, smart movement the entire time. A big shout out to Haxetti on that sort of flex play that he did to eliminate the Knights from contention. That running shot to finish, I think it was Drayden, just at the end. I mean, that was just literally the
That guy's nuts.
Yeah, phenomenal.
And of course, they want to keep their position at the top phase. So even though they didn't win, we see Haxetti running into the blue.
Yeah, so it's denying kills, right? There's the idea that it's 12 points, and they know that it's Liquid is trying to climb up on them. They know that Optic still finished pretty high in the standings after that last match. So to take those 12 points away, time and time again, we've seen teams not advance. In fact, I think there was a recent Cursed Trials where TSM missed advancing to the finals by 1 kill, and it's one of those things where you want to always make sure you're making it so that in the worst case scenario, they can't go through.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, also this circle, they've had something to say. I want to talk about a bit of our FaZe here. They came in from the north. We had 2 extreme southern shifts, and they came into that big dip there. And that just talks about that insane map knowledge that FaZe has. I mean, these guys, they have about, I don't know, like 10,000 hours to get in this game. And because this map is so huge, you need to know exactly where you can play in every situation. And it just shows here, being able to come into that dip and know, okay, we can stay there, this is safe, nobody's gonna be there, and they just did that insane push from that.
And you saw they eliminated Optic, they got the threat out of the way, moved to a new dip, and this is a tough point for FaZe to deal with. Liquid to the left, who moved very aggressively into the middle. You can see him holding it there. Hacksteady had to go off to try to find the off angle, but really that was just another textbook example of Liquid with good movement. There was one dip remaining. FaZe thought about taking it, but had to eliminate Knights. While they were doing that, Liquid stole the spot. And then from there, you sort of saw Fuzz on the left angle saying, I think I can hold him here. Hacksteady having to go off to the right. And at that point, you're fighting a bunch of, basically it's like, instead of 3v4, it's 1v3, v1, v3. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like you're all sort of fighting your own battles. You can't help each other.
And why are FaZe always leaving a man behind?
It's the new thing that I'm seeing from them. This sort of like flex play. I almost think of it as like there's like if you ever watched Waterworld with Kevin Costner, where he's like skiing behind the boat at like 100 meters, like trying to catch fish, is what it feels like. That they're moving as a team. It's sort of their main structure, but they always have Hacksteady at the start of the game, sort of out in front, sweeping, looking for threats, and then around circle 5, it feels like Jempty sort of takes over that role, and he's always sliding off, sort of watching the flank, making sure they don't get third-partied.
I mean, it's just so important here. This also talks to how often you see teams getting third-party, and they're just tired of it. They don't want to get third-party anymore, so they just leave Hacksteady in an off angle to get all this information that they need to get from this kind of backhand that he always plays.
And that's something we've seen Liquid doing as well.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it. It really comes down to information gathering. Both these teams thrive on information. I think the difference is Liquid looks for information and then chooses to sort of like compress it and act on it, whereas I think Hacksteady's out there for information and then immediately sort of engages, and his team then sort of attached to that invisible string, if you will, rows onto a rotation and comes up behind, runs flanks, things like that. So I think Hacksteady has a little more allowances on picking fights, if that makes sense.
I want to give props actually to the very start of the map where we saw a little bit of karma come into play, didn't we? Karma being the pun I'm trying to get to.
Right, no, Krama plays for Knights, but Karma, I think, struck some players in the face early on in this one. We saw SSG D-Master was killed by 2 cars hunting him down, tracking him as much as he could, and then Pride, basically Pride went and got a gun, came back, finished him off. There was a little bit of chain punching there, so kind of a fun way to start the game. But I mean, I do think I want to talk a little bit, if we go to the map, about that last circle, because there was some really good fights. A good play, I think, by Dignitas and Knights. We just talked about a little bit there, Krama. Is this side of the circle. So we had the guys in Liquid compound, or we call it the noob compound, right? Yeah. Envious crashed them early on. I think a lot of people sort of were like, oh, what are you doing? But they had no real choice. Envious was either do or die. They tried to make a play for it. It cost them Scoom. And I thought that might have cost them the game because they had FaZe and they had Optic to deal with here just up the way. The real heroes for me was Dignitas and somebody's touching in the map. It was Dignitas and the guys over here dealing with sort of Knights. This section just to the south of the road where that hill is a really good hold spot if you get the circle, and they did. That's really, I think, what cost FaZe the game. Because of the fact they were able to hide there, last so long, FaZe had to invest resources to stop them. Liquid takes the win for sure.
Wow, I'm wondering what's made the top 3 plays. Any ideas, guys?
I have no idea, but I'm sure they're willing to show us.
They really are.
Hopefully those that Hacksteady kill.
That was so beautiful. All right, number 3 in the top 3 plays. Coming around to the outside, we've got Totality. This is where Smithy was able to get a nice little burn down. We jump to Jeems on the sniping. Jeems has been absolutely fire in this tournament so far, but this is that nade up and then roll back. And it just bought them the freedom they needed to go in and clear out Vitality. Number 2. Another big, I think every great play starts with the nade, but Gustav QQ, this is a player who I think started our tournament a little bit passive in some of his play, has been really, really aggressive since then. Came out, got a really nice knock on Taro, swapped guns, and then opened fire, getting a second one on Smithy. I mean, Dunstibbles finished the job, but that was sort of him taking all of the attention off of everybody. This is that crash, number 1 we talked about from Envious. They had no other choice. Check Shooter and Venerated had to crash the house. They got Scoob, they knocked him out, and their Jeems was just a little bit too late to get that AUG in there and save Scoom's life. But at the end, it didn't matter. They still won with 3.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm kind of wondering if Team Totality actually want to win or they just want to get the most kills, because they're never, ever playing for placement now. They're just wiping teams out wherever they can. First, they wiped out Vitality, then they wiped out Secret. But let's see what impact that had on the standings. So FaZe Clan, there you go. They are gaining. That's almost like an impossible lead now, it feels.
No, I mean, 400 points for a win, so not that too far, man. But still, Liquid popping up into the 2000s together with Knight. And I mean, the top 4 is kind of solidifying himself here, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, if you get East second place, it's 300, third 240, fourth 200, and so on, as it says there. But really, I think Optic's still hanging tall. Liquid back in the mix with the second one. Yes, FaZe is pretty far out there. So if we keep seeing those next sort of third, fourth, fifth place teams jockeying each other, FaZe will continue to comfortably extend their lead. But this is the first tournament I've watched in a while where we're hitting the last run of games and FaZe isn't cushioning their lead by 200-300 points per game. I mean, it's pretty common to see them at this point be at a level of, you're right, it's almost impossible to catch them. So I'm excited. That means the rest of the scene is starting to really catch up to the chase that we've had on FaZe for a while. And I think Liquid and Optic are both starting to smell blood.
Meanwhile, Rusky, congratulations, boys. You doubled your kill count in that last game. 48 kill points over 9 games, I think it is. Keep it up. You'll prove yourselves on LAN yet. We'll see, I think, maybe, after the break.